Hello, Terry. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Joanne. I'm a law student from Australia. Hope you're all doing very well. Well, seem to have a spy in our midst. It's been the Australian Top Security Investigation, ASIO, and Security is an investigation organisation, ASIO, has revealed that one of our politicians is a spy. There's lots of speculation and a lot of people guessing about who that could be. We're going to see whether we can find it out. There's lots of things. There's speculation that it's got something to do with the sale of the port of Darwin. Yes, don't ask me why, but we sold our port of Darwin to the Chinese. Some are saying it's linked to that. The NRL are currently playing in, sarcasm for fun. The NRL, the National Rugby League, is currently playing a game in Viva, Las Vegas. Don't ask me why, but I acknowledge that. And apparently, everybody waiting for KJ's live, apparently she's come down with a cold, so she can't be live this week. But she is manically posting about the Duggars and trying to drag up old stuff about the Duggars. And there's new stuff. And it's really interesting because I came across a channel called Coffee and Cults. And this woman does about an hour-long videos. It's all in chapters. Very well done. She talks straight to the camera. And she gives you a well-balanced view. And for me, that's really potentially what she's up at. There's so many other cults out there. She doesn't need to focus on the TLC cults. There's... I think the one that I was watching was on Twin Flame. I think it's called Twin Flame Academy or something. And it's gotten so bad that they've got divine gender. So this guy says, well, we can't find you a guy because the reason why you can't find a guy is that you're really a guy and you need to change your name. And people are doing this. People are falling for it. Anyway, enough about that. So let's look at this spy, this politician. I was trying to come up with a really wacky type of title, but I have not been able to get it. Now there's pressure for the spy chief to name who it is. There is pressure, but it's funny because both sides of Parliament are actually saying, well, it's somebody from the other side. It can't be us. So when there's been, I was going to say, come up with a dodgy politician, and I'm having trouble trying to find one that's not dodgy. Can you think of a politician that doesn't have question marks? Because I'm struggling to find a dodgy, anybody. I'm trying to find somebody that's not dodgy. Right, so we've got this at the moment. You can see that my computer's just frozen, so there we go. Right, so the traitor politician was in Parliament. So this is what's been revealed. He was in Parliament, or they were in Parliament. We're making an assumption here that it was a man. It might not have been a man. Was in Parliament when they sold out Australia. Spy agency reveals. Don't know why I'm getting James Bond vibes. ASIO chief Mike Burgess revealed a former politician engaged in espionage for a foreign country. In an interview with SBS News, Burgess confirmed Profiling Evil on YouTube talks about cults as well. Very well written, including Warren Jeffs. Yeah, I'm sure there's some really good ones over there, which is why I don't understand why Katie Joy thinks that they're all going after her, because they'd go after them all anyway. So the mystery former. So the politician was in Parliament when they sold out in Australia. He said revealing the traitor's identity could compromise future ASIO investigations. The mystery politician who was engaged in it was for a foreign country was a serving member of the Australian Parliament when they were recruited. The Director General of the Australian Security Intelligence Organisation, ASIO, Mike Burgess, originally outlined the bombshell spy case in his annual threat assessment on Wednesday. He is refusing to reveal their identity, political party, or whether they're a member of federal, state, or territory government. So we don't know. But for the first time in an interview with SBS, Burgess has confirmed they were recruited to work for an international spy ring while representing voters and being paid by Australian taxpayers. This happened when they were a politician. So we know it's somebody who was a politician but is now no longer a politician. The agency has blown the cover of the Foreign Intelligence Unit. ASIO has codenamed it the A-Team, which was targeting Australians who had access to privileged information for several years. The unit recruited the politician, has documented how the politicians sold out their country, party, and former colleagues to advance the interests of the foreign government. The politician also proposed to connect spies with a member of the Prime Minister's family, and that plan did not go ahead. The de-identified case has infuriated former politicians, including Joe Hockey, formerly the nation's treasurer and previously Australia's US ambassador, who demanded the spy agency unmask the traitor to avoid speculation and international perception former MPs and senators were compromised. People should be absolutely outraged and demand to know who this person was. Mr. Burgess, having gone so far, must name that person rather than potentially smear everybody who served their country. The opposition leader also warned if Burgess did not indicate the name, there could be a cloud hanging over everybody's head, saying they should be outed and shamed. But ASIO is stand-by the decision. I don't think I've smeared anything. The objective was to raise awareness of interference of a political system. It looks like I've achieved that, he told the SBS. I can understand a view that it's in the public interest, but I don't agree with that. He said that it could compromise future investigations. If I shared the details as to who it was, they might figure out how I worked it out and how my organisation did, and that's our secret. Burgess said the politician was actively engaged before the 2018 foreign interference laws were passed in federal parliament, and the activity was not a criminal offence at the time. He said he didn't believe they'd be stupid enough to repeat the behaviour. That matter is now resolved. It's important those threats are explained to people we protect. It's important that actually people recognise that the threat so that they can resist and report such overtures from foreign intelligence services. That was my objective. So we've got to go back to 2018. In the wake of the case being made public, the son of former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull confirmed to news.com around 2017 he was approached by an incident with some similar hallmarks. Alex Turnbull said he was contacted by phone and offered an equity in an infrastructure company and immediately notified the authorities. I noted his comments, but if you listen to what I actually said and then look at what Mr. Turnbull said, I think you'll conclude they're not the same. Burgess responded. The A-Team plot ASIO documented was for initial contact to be made on social networking sites claiming to be from a foreign company, offering payment for reports on Australian politics, economic and security with extra fees. Burgess said those who agreed to work for the foreign government were often motivated by money, political beliefs, feeling indebted, or blackmail. The Prime Minister expressed his confidence. Prime Minister, yeah. So he's not going to disclose who it is, so we've got lots of speculation as to who the spy was. The Prime Minister said that he'd be backing ASIO and he would not be naming the person. So this has been big news in Australia. So foreign spies targeted former politicians and prime ministers. So again, it's very interesting. So it's interesting because the Port of Darwin occurred in 2022. So it's probably not the Port of Darwin, but it is just strange because in November 21 in 2114, the Port of Darwin comes back into Australian hands. So a lot of people initially, when they heard about the spy, they immediately thought of the Port of Darwin, because why would you sell a port to the Chinese? So they sold it to the Chinese and we lease it back. Yeah, it's on our land. Make that make sense, because I have no idea how. It's been 6.5 years since Chinese company Landbridge signed the 99-year lease. Barbara says, I don't get selling out your country for money. I don't either. I don't, and when you think about it, the politicians are among some of the highest paid people too. So I don't understand it either. So we know that it's around about the time of 2017. And there's some new spy laws brought in 2018. So it was the Turnbull. So Malcolm Turnbull was the Prime Minister in 2017. Yeah, I'm really interested. I am using Wikipedia. I'm not one to really use Wikipedia, but well, I mean, I don't understand why you would sell out your country. To me, I mean, it's definitely espionage in my opinion. All right, so yeah, I bet you it is. Ooh, no, I'm saying I bet you it is. Right. So this is Wikipedia. So Malcolm Turnbull. This is in the Abbott Turnbull ScoMo period of turmoil. He was Prime Minister from 2015 to 2018. Okay. Now I was just having a look. Now I am certain within 6 months of Turnbull government, a number of senators resigned. I think Andrew Robb, who was the Trade Minister under the Abbott government, worked for the people that bought the Port of Darwin. Yes, he did. So Andrew Robb actually approved the Chinese company Shandong Landbridge to lease the Port of Darwin. As soon as he left politics, he was hired by that company on an $880,000 per year salary. I'm not saying it was him, but I'm just saying there's a few politicians like that stepped out of politics and have walked into a very strange, interesting job. So a question for you, do you think the person should be named? Do you think that they should name the person responsible? But it is scary because we don't know who or what. We don't know what's going on and who it was. Absolutely. Why be shady? Well, that's right. Why can't the person who it is come out and say it's them? So either It's very, definitely very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so let's look at. So apparently, Las Vegas, Viva, bright light city's gonna set my soul. I'm gonna set my soul on fire. Chinese investors own a lot of California real estate, including well, they own a lot of Australia as well. To be honest, so look, I have to say, I live in Australia. I support Aussie rules. I've got no idea. I don't understand rugby league. But anyway, they're in Las Vegas at the moment. If we want lies and shade, we know where to go on YouTube. One Clue Eyebrows, who doesn't know what date is correct. So the rugby is currently playing in Las Vegas, and so there's live scores. Yeah, that's happening. I don't know what the crowd is. I don't know how many people went. So but anyway, they wear these shorts. There we go. Russell Crowe did a video to try and explain it. I watched it, and as an Australian, I really didn't like it. Apparently, tickets were $19 US plus taxes and charges. So, the Rabbitohs are 6-0. Sea Eagles are 0. So that's a big coup. There's footage of them sliding the field in, which was quite fascinating. So, and it's actually for live points as well. So it's for points. So you can. It says Australia's most exciting sport. Well, I'd argue about that. I find it boring, but anyway. But that's. I'm from the other state. So yeah, I don't know what the crowd's like, but it's at Ella Giant Stadium. So I mean that's pretty exciting if that's if you live there and you're willing to see what it was like. I believe that the police chief warned them not to hook up with strangers, which I thought was quite hilarious. So we're talking about live. And it appears to pay and paying cash for everything. Correct. So, well, it's interesting sarcasm for fun. Yeah, but yes, you are right. They seem to be taking over quite a bit. Well, I mean, I always thought it was really weird that they had their one child policy in us, and then people would go and move overseas so they could have multiple children, and then they would go back to China because you could have as long as you could have more than one children as long as you didn't give birth there. So it's definitely really, really weird. But yes, the same thing is happening, in my opinion, the same thing's happening here as well. It's really hard. A lot of the housing is now getting bought up by the Chinese, farmland, everything. Well, but yeah, I don't understand why they had to sell the port and then lease it back. The Chinese wanted it, they could have leased it, but they did a 99-year lease. And to me, that is like and then that's it, as I said, and it's just so interesting then that the person who was in the government at the time that oversaw that walked into a job with that company that bought the port, and it's on $180,000 a year. You can't tell me that's not that's okay. You can't tell me there's nothing dodgy going on there. Of course, there's something dodgy going on. We just can't prove it though, hey? They need to get their product imported. Well, that's right. That's right. And then there's free trade agreements. So, they don't have to pay import tax and all that sort of stuff. So it's really weird and really odd. I mean, that's why manufacturing. I mean, going to get me on a bit of a rant now. One of the reasons why manufacturing has died in a lot of countries is because they've made it so easy to import stuff from overseas, and they've made our own homegrown products. They cost more. You want to support things made in your own country, but they cost so much because they've made it so easy for everyone else to import products. Sometimes they're inferior. The oil refinery near where I live has closed. Why? Because the oil refinery was not an oil refinery for us. It was oil came in, it was refined, and it was shipped back out overseas, and then it was sold back to us. And then the company says, "Oh no, it's not viable anymore. We're closing down the factory." Make that make sense? Right. Let's get to this. All right. We're back on the. Unfortunately, we're back onto. So we've just had a whole pile of Lives content, and now we're going onto the Dogger content because but we're going to rifle through and pull out old Dogger stuff because So we've dealt with this. As I said, I have my questions. Yes, we do have Tamu in Australia. Yes, we do. I actually do buy from it. Some of the stuff is good. But most of the stuff that you get now comes from there anyway. We saw that one yesterday. I have questions about this screenshot. So it says Jim Holt didn't testify against Josh because he believed Josh was guilty. Bobby didn't testify because her daughter was spared. They married their daughter to a man that SA'd his brother, a man that Jim fixed. Her sarcasm for fun says it won't make sense. We can drive ourselves mad. That is true. She knew what Josh had done for nearly 20 years. She never went to the police on her own. Instead, Bobby and Jim stayed in close circles with the Doggers. They were on the outside, never far away. Bobby hated that anyone compared her to Michelle. She detested Michelle. In our conversations, Bobby degraded Michelle for having a high... Apparently, Michelle... It's interesting. Apparently, Michelle had a high sex drive. And being just as bad as Jim Bob. I thought she said that that Jim Bob made her have it. True sarcasm for fun, they are true, yes. I thought she said that Michelle couldn't say no anyway. So now she's got a high level drive. So what is it? Because if she's got a high drive, high sex drive, surely she would then be wanting it all the time. But I thought it was the man. Oh, again, I'm confused anyway. We're just getting double Dutch here. Bobby and Jim were just like Michelle and Jim Bob. They were mirrors of the couple. The only difference was Jim Bob got fame and wealth. The Holt's political career floundered and their businesses remained modest. Jim Holt hated Jim Bob because he was Jim Bob. Jim Holt hated Jim Bob because he was Jim Bob. He wanted to be Jim Bob. Jim and Bobby Holt wanted revenge on Jim Bob and Michelle. That's why they testified. This is gobbledygook, in my opinion. They participated in shiny, happy people for money and fame. I didn't think that I thought you said they didn't get paid for it anyway. In the months I spoke to them on the phone via text, When my kid was little, he thought China was a toy store. Well, that does make sense, you know. In the months I spoke to them on the phone by text, their goal was very clear to me, in my opinion. They wanted to destroy the Duggars at all costs, and they wanted to surpass the Duggars in fame. Bobby did not lie in her testimony about Josh Duggar, but she also did not tell the prosecutors everything. But she did. Bobby told me that she knew that Josh was looking for CSAM, and for more than a decade. She told me that Josh told her that he had seen everything on the internet between 2006 and 2010. Jim Holt believed he could fix Josh. All Josh needed was more faith. Jim Holt was obsessed with juvenile SOs and believed he could cure them. His obsession felt more like a fetish to me. Of course, she is an expert. Hello, Doom. I just want everyone to know that when I report this story, I know the whole story. I know these people. I have been on the receiving end of Jim's manipulation and abuse. He's worse than Jim Bob. When Josh was in need of help, Jim Holt was who came in to help him. Josh was created by his father and Jim Holt. Jim Holt is one of the most disturbing and perverse men I've encountered. Okay, I have issues with this screenshot. Couple of issues. At the top, it shows BHJH in the boxes up the top, and then it says Jim and KJ. Since when does KJ, or since when does Katie like to be called KJ? She hates it. And so why, if it's JH at the top, why is it Jim and KJ? Why isn't it JH and KJ? However, admittedly, I don't really understand how they all work, but it would just make sense. Why would you have JH at the top of the conversation, and then she's talking about she's having a conversation with Jim and Bobby Holt. Well, why would Jim and KJ not be in a bubble, or why would it be Jim? Why is Jim listed there when if you look it down the side it says JH? Why doesn't it say JH and KJ? If you can explain it, please do. As I said, I just question everything. I don't accept anything as face value. The other thing is I don't like how it's got the background at the back. So it also makes it look like, for me, it makes it look like the screenshot's edited because it's got this background on it. You know, if you're going to share screenshots, share them properly without the fancy backgrounds because they look more verifiable. So what do you think about that? Or am I up a creek without a paddle? If you say that I'm wrong, I'm happy to admit that I'm wrong. I just don't understand how these messages work because if I was to share a screenshot, mine doesn't look like that with multiple people. I guess is my thing too. So, um, And mine doesn't have my name on it twice either. So that's all. I'm just putting it out there so you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. Then she's talking about Josh Duggar, SA of Four Sisters. So we're going to rehash the past again because we haven't just traumatized the daughters enough. We haven't traumatized his sisters enough. We're going to just keep doing it. With four sisters and a family friend or babysitter is worse than has ever been reported. Without a crystal ball, has spent nearly 5 years interviewing dozens of people connected to the Duggars and two former church elders of the Duggars Church. On Shiny Happy People, Family Secrets, the cover-up was placed solely on Jim Bob by Jim Holt. In conversations with me, Jim Holt constantly downplayed anyone else's responsibility other than Jim Bob's. A former elder has cut ties with all these men, and who did not support the cover-up has been in communication with me for years. Additionally, the elder's claims have been corroborated by children and several women from the church that have come forward to speak to me anonymously. Well, obviously she's about to out them all. Here's a few key points. I plan on doing a live stream or video on this later on YouTube. Well, apparently she's sick, so. The IBLP was 100% involved in helping cover up the crimes. One of Bill Gothard's closest confidants and doctor that helped write the medical curriculum, Dottie Murphy, was brought in to mediate. His goal was to mediate the group, encourage the Duggars to do the show, and prevent law enforcement involvement. Dottie has also been accused by his daughter of R and SA. Okay. Michael Pearl was also brought in to consult the men. Michael Pearl advised the men not to report the A to police. He told them that they wouldn't know if Josh was a pedo till he was an adult. Pearl's child abuse books have been linked to deaths of multiple children. What CA book? I don't know. Jim Holt claimed he wanted the Duggars to report the abuse. However, Jim Bob Duggar threatened to turn Jim Holt into the police for statutory RSA in the second degree connected to the relationship with his wife. What? Jim Holt was an adult and Bobby a minor when they met, and they were involved in a sexual relationship. They mitigated Jim Holt's exposure by going to an off-duty state trooper. They both knew the trooper would not report either to police. Jim Bob has been accused by multiple daughters of SA, which he denies. Sorry, Jimmy, yeah. What? Anyway. So someone talks about the Bates family here. Someone says they're waiting for the day Jim Bob is going to sit in prison. But at the moment, I've not seen any proof. I'm just, who did? Someone says, well, what books do you mean? What do you mean by books? This just keeps getting crazier and crazier. So apparently, I don't even know who these people are. I guess one of them is Michael Pearl, is it? Now she's on about because, the doco again. Shiny Happy People, Duggar Family Secrets, originally planned to be an expose on Duggar Bates and Plath families. The Josh Duggar cover-up, their ties to the IBLP. This was how the producers marketed the show before it was created. The producers relied heavily on their subjects to bring them sources. They also infiltrated snark boards and Survivor Facebook groups. Well, that's what she does, isn't it? Allegedly. Jim Holt approached me about the series. He encouraged me to speak to the producers. My conversations with the producers included a Zoom call with the entire group, emails, and text messages. They asked me to be part of the series, and I signed an appearance release to be featured. During my contact with the producers, they appeared most interested in my contacts and sources. At the time of our conversations, they had a few people signed. The producers asked me if my sources would be willing to work with them. They wanted to know which Duggars would speak to them. One producer went as far as asking me if I knew how to get Bill Gothard's phone number. My sources were adamant they did not want to be involved in any way. None of them were comfortable being on camera and opening up their lives to scrutiny or threats they may receive from other cult members. Colts were the only ones willing to go on camera. The entire immediate Duggar family, other than Jill and Derek, declined to be interviewed. Therefore, producers lacked enough insiders to reveal the inside workings of the family in current state. Jill, Derek, Amy, and Deanna have all been outsiders to the family in many years. Hello, Mama Kay. The producers didn't want her sources, the voices in her head. Jim Bob made it clear to anyone involved in anything negative about him would be cut off. The kids were bound by NDAs and could not speak. Many of his friends are bound by NDAs or are loyal to him. Unfortunately, the end result meant the producers ended up relying on IBLP survivors to fill in blanks with their own experiences. These experiences did not accurately portray the power Jim Bob holds over his followers' family, nor did it represent the truth about what happened in the home. The survivors were brave to speak out, but ultimately not many secrets of the Duggars were revealed. So there you go. She's saying that she signed an appearance form, but didn't she deny that she ever did? I'm sure that this is a changed story. She said she wouldn't be part of it because she thought they just were after her sources. So now we've got a variation of it again. Red is wine, pills are blue. All right. Josh and Anna was supposed to be the next power couple. See, now we're still talking about Josh. She has an obsession with him. There are new clickbait reports that Anna Duggar is working on divorcing Josh Duggar. These reports are categorically false. Anna will never divorce Josh. Here are a few details from my sources about how the Duggars leveraged their fame in order to broker relationships and arrange marriages. Despite the kids claiming their marriages aren't arranged, this is false. Oh, because, we know that KJ lives in the bedroom with them, so she knows we know that she has a secret room in the Duggar house, so she's there all the time. Right? Jim Bob and Jim Holt arranged their children under the belief that Josh and Kaylee would become the next big couple in the IBLP. They were prepping Josh to become the President of the United States, and they believed Josh would be the one of the most important men in Christianity. But that didn't go ahead. I'm surprised KJ has any sources considering she rats them out. Well, she does rat them out. It's always a matter of time. When relationships between Josh and Kaylee fell apart, Jim Bob needed to find someone new for Josh. By this time, the Duggars were darlings and extraordinary in the IBLP due to their documentary specials on Discovery, and the Duggar was picked due to her father's work fixing SOs and criminals like Josh. Anna was given the same offer as Kaylee, but she believed Josh would be the most powerful. That's a very good question, Mama Kay. Why do Amy and Deanna keep going back? I mean, has KJ got something on them? Does KJ know something about them? It's the only reason why I think they keep going back. Anna Duggar was a fangirl of Josh. The Duggars were not honest with her parents about Josh's history of SA. Jim Bob had encountered Michael Keller's ministry has ensured that Michael Keller's ministry has been supported financially. David Waller's church and other several IBLP affiliated churches sponsor Michael's work, trying to fix prisoners and SOs. Jim Bob encouraged families from the IBLP and fans of the show to move to Arkansas. People that live near the Duggars are under the belief that Jim Bob is the leader of the IBLP and that they also believe he's anointed by God. He has a massive cult-like following in northwest Arkansas. Jim Bob was able to broker arranged marriages with these families for his other kids, allegedly. The Duggars have promised Anna financial security for life, a free place to stay, and the ability to never have to work as long as she remains married to Josh. Divorce is not allowed. Now, let's also just remember that there are children involved as well. So, whatever you think, Anna's got to make, she's got children to think about as well. It's not just as simple as that. Anna's entire life is controlled down to where she lives, her phone, communication, money, and who can have access to her. She only travels to see other family in the IBLP. People outside of their circles are blocked. The only way I can see Amy and Dio, when she has something over them, they have a vendetta. I know Amy has a vendetta. Yeah. Well, I think she's got a vendetta against Jim Bob anyway, because about that she didn't know about Josh. I think I can't remember, but I'm thinking that she has something over them. That's the only way that I can see them going back. Or there is a third option, Doom. They're on the payroll. And I mean, I don't know why you would say you'd use them as source, because she keeps saying that they're on the outer, but they're on the outer. So allegedly they're on the outer, but then she says, well, they don't know what's going on, but then she keeps talking about them as if they are her sources. So, either they're on the outside of it all, or they're not on the outside of it all. I'm sure there would be family members that would talk to Deanna and Amy. So there would be some way that they would get that information. So that is that. I mean, that's just really bizarre, I find. So let's look at the things here. What she got here? So, oh, gee, there's a million of them. I remember you talking about Amy around. Yeah, I think it was around the time of the fact that, if I remember rightly, it was that Jim Bob, she was working with Jim Bob, she was working on the show, and it had been kept secret from her. Well, but she does say that Mr. Crystal Ball has a lot to do with the channel. He does all her some stuff, so that means he does work on the channel. Let's talk about why I'm revealing these details, because some of these men are involved in the cover-up for Jim Holt. All right, let's have a look. Oh, my son got me adult Lego for you and asked me to put one together today. Ask and you shall receive, my bubba. Why do you call it Legos? We call it Lego. She said that she's we've got to look at her community tab because she says she's battling a cold at the moment, so she can't do the live stream. So there you go. Adult Lego, apparently. Let's burn the IBLP down. Ask me a questions. All right, so she's doing some questions. Well, that's why there's so many of them. So let's see what questions we've got here. Is there SA in the Bates family? I'm not going to speculate. Yeah, that's a Lego, apparently. I'm not going to speculate about SA. I get super tired of explaining that the Bates family are the exact same as the Duggars. There is no difference. They are from the same cult, and Gil Bates covered up Bill Gossard's SA for the IBLP. Gil claimed his daughter's virginity as his own, and his wife was a broodmare. Listen to his sermon. He's racist, misogynistic, and defends pedophiles, apparently. So there you go. But she's not going to speculate. I'm not going to speculate. I know Josh is a monster, but do you have anything on JB being abusive? Michelle had 19 kids. Michelle cannot say no to sex ever. Women in the IBLP are consistently AR'd by their husband. Safe to say SA in their home is not limited to Josh or Jim Bob. But didn't she say she had a high sex drive, by the way? So she might want it. But anyway, just saying. Again, they're big statements to make. Any update on Claire and Justin? This isn't an update on the kids. We are talking about the cult. This isn't, well, I mean, they haven't had any kids. So they haven't had any kids, and there goes her theory, doesn't it, about the fact that they only get married to have kids. Because Mama Kay says she's disgusting, and yes, she said Emma had a high sex drive when comparing it. That's right. So therefore, you can't assume that everyone is art because she might have a high drive. You know, she might want it. This isn't an update on the kids. We're talking about the cult. The other thing is, a lot of these other people that do these, coffee and cult and these other things, they'll do 1 hour video on it, and then they'll move in and do the next video on another place. And the woman that I was watching, Coffee and Cult, she's done a video on Scientology and Nexus as well, by the way. And there was no comeback because she did it respectfully. Do you think any other Dougie kids will leave the cult? The boys will never leave the cult, at least not for now. Jim Bob has made them completely dependent on him, and they are all groomed to be predators. They have no incentive to leave because they have power and control. Sex. JB. What? Hang on. They have no incentive to leave because they have power and control sex. JB also controls their money, and JB has aeroplanes and toys they would never have without him. Um, they have no incentive to leave because they have power and control sex. JP also controls. There needs to be some punctuation. Because again, all right. Does Anna's sister have a brain injury? Are her cognitive skills diminished? Priscilla does have a brain injury stemming from birth. She also has gone through a lot of abuse as child. She for sure has cognitive impairments that David Waller takes advantage of and exploits. Oh, okay. Oh no, we shouldn't speculate. That's right, Mum. Okay, we shouldn't speculate. Will Anna ever wake up, if that's the correct word? Extremely unlikely. She's completely brainwashed and worships the ground Josh walks on. Jim Bob controls her, and Josh still controls her from prison. There you go. I thought he was in protective custody because you're locked up for a long time if you're under protective custody. So anyway, what's the highest level of homeschool education do the girls get? It varies by family. The Duggars did not educate beyond 7th grade. What's the highest level of homeschool education do the girls get? There's a family from their circle whose mum was a licensed school teacher. Her kids were all educated through 12th grade and some went on to college. This family is an exception in this circle, and this specific cult does not represent all homeschooling families. So she's put that in. Oops. Great, I've just lost it. Oh, where is it? There we go. Oops. All right. Is Jill considered out the cult? What would out mean for any of the girls? Jill is the most out of the adult daughters. Joy and Jana are the most in, and Jessa is loyal to her parents because she and Ben cannot afford their life without help from their parents. Her parents. Is IBLP still a functioning organisation? Is Jim Bob on the board or anything? Yes, the IBLP 100% still exists and 100% functions. Jim Bob holds no position of authority, but every person in leadership is obsessed with him. His money and influence controls the direction of the cult. And the IBLP affiliated churches must pledge loyalty to the Duggars. Not a joke. Not even a joke. Okay. No, someone else has lost it and views. I was going to say, we must be getting desperate if we're pulling the Duggars out again. And then it's the same question. Gil Bates is on the board and serves as Jim Bob's mouthpiece. Gil is loyal to JB and owes his home life to him, and Gil does whatever JB wants. Are we supposed to have half victim, half your guilty feelings for Anna? Anna is a victim of the cult, but it's important to understand that every adult in this cult generally becomes a perpetrator of some sort. Anna is a victim of DV and coercive control, but Anna is also known to be very competitive and cruel. She also enables the A of her kids. There is no perfect victims in these cults other than kids, but even some kids become perps of their siblings. How are we just throwing words around? Are we just using the buzzwords at the moment? Are any of the Douglas kids waking up after what's going on with the Holts? Nope. They only brag that Jim Holt begged for forgiveness and used that as pride at that their dad didn't lie and is a good person. The boys are all head in the sand. Not to mention there are actual accounts of some of the other siblings being like Josh. They only hate Josh now because it's ruined their business, not because they think he did anything wrong. So she's saying that there's other siblings that are doing that have CA'd siblings. Is that what she's saying? Counts of some of the other siblings being like Josh. That's, again, another big, bold statement. This is making me mad. KJ, like, of course, like, all right. So, still more to come. She's pulling out lots of big words here, lots of big allegations. Again, I hope 7M's looking and going, she's just saying these things. Just because you know something, even if law enforcement say, we know that this is happening, unless you've got proof, you can't run with it. That's why. Who are the Bates kids? Who out of the Bates kids are still in the IBLP? I bored with questions about the Bates. Not a single one has ever spoken an ill word about their dad. Their dad is A. That's all you need to know. She's bored. She says, I bored. So because the Bates kids won't speak out about their dad, and she says that their dad's not a nice person. Hello, Vivian. Right. This is an hour ago. This was an hour ago. Who do you think will be in this? What do you think will be of this cult in 20 years? I have no idea. Jason is the only boy I could see possibly. Jason's the only boy that I could possibly see leaving the cult. The rest are a lost cause. Okay. The Duggars and Platts come from the same cult. No, the Platts were part of No Greater Joy Ministries and Reformed Baptist Circles. IBLP, adjacent, but not the same. When I asked Olivia and Ethan years ago, both adamantly denied being IBLP. Olivia now claims she was raised in it. Interesting. Is Jim Bob still pursuing a career in politics or any sort of political platform? Jim Bob doesn't need to. He has people in politics working for him. Sarah Huckabee Sanders grew up in the IBLP, and her dad is why the LBIP is so prevalent in Arkansas. Is that right? Are they Democrats or Republicans, by the way? Not that I know. A Republican, okay. God, that's why. Ask me anything. I'll make answers that I can't back up or show proof correct. Well, according to Sarah Huckabee Sanders Wikipedia, She graduated from Little Rock Central High School and then attended the Chua Baptist University. Then she graduated from university with a Bachelor of Arts degree, majoring in political science and mass communication. So that doesn't sound like she's Southern Baptist and her husband. So I was going to say, I've not seen, I decided to just Google it to see what that is. But Southern Baptist is not IBLP. And Janet Huckabee, her mother, is a McCain. So that is not IBLP like, to actually attend from what she was saying. She's the youngest child and the only daughter of Mike Huckabee. Okay. Mike Huckabee, they were Southern Baptist. So yeah, they're not even nowhere near IBLP, is that correct? All right. Unfortunately, KJ people don't actually have the brains to actually look it up. They just believe what she says. Okay, some days in reporting, I feel she's guilty. Other days, I feel bad for her. She's whatever the wind blows on a certain day. And then she says, in regards to Anna, there is no perfect victims in a cult. Anna is not doing what is right for her kids, but Anna has also not been raised or programmed to care about her kids. Her primary goal is to serve her husband. Okay, so I've just looked into, I did look at Huckabee and the IBLP, and it does say that Mike Huckabee has been actively involved, and has openly supported the IBLP. But I don't know. Like, I can't tell you that whether she grew up in it. So they had to, but the thing is, it says so there's a thing called Duggar Family Secrets, IBLP's six biggest political connections. So they've got the political connections, and they've got Mike Huckabee. The Amazon series shared that former Republican candidate Mike Huckabee was extremely close with Jim Bob and Josh Duggar, so much so he was once filmed berating a woman on the campaign trail. So they met. Mike was also an alumnus of Bill's Basic Seminar, which was quoted on the website for praising the religious leader. So he attended one of his, so he knew Jim, according to this, he knew Jim Bob through the political connections. So interesting. But I can't find anything to say that Sarah Huckabee Sanders grew up in it. Okay. Are they still in a cult even after getting married except Jill? I mean, all of the boys are in the cult. Joy says she's out, but she's not out of the cult at all. Are you concerned for your safety in exposing this? Watch out. Nope, I don't live in conspiracy land like these people do. They all believe Jim Bob is dangerous and kills people. Seriously, Jim and Bobby Holt always acted like JB was going to kill them. JB won't kill anyone. He's a coward. Didn't she say she was getting swatted? Oh, so she's not scared now. Watch out. She'll be talking about. She'll be talking about her safety net. What's Jana up to these days? This is not an update on the kids. I'm talking about the cult. Jana is captive on her dad's property, an effective slave to the whole family. I'm not giving an update on the kids. But while I'm at it, I'm going to tell you that Jana is like a slave. Blows my mind that people want updates on these kids. They are trapped in a cult. What you saw on TV was fake. They have no autonomy and no control of their lives. Jim Bob controls them. That's all the update you need. Think about the Turpin family or any other A family that has been in the headlines. That is the reality of Dougie kids. They have no personal agency. Jim Bob controls every aspect of their lives and rules them by fear. They are not allowed to be independent. They are effective captives of their father, but don't even know it. Jason and Jane's travelling is all for deflection content for JB. Can you compare the two families? Does Anna not believe Josh is guilty? Why would she stay with a predator? They don't. Depends on the wind shift, just like the weather. She can get it completely wrong and still get paid correct. They don't believe in SA the same way we do. They don't value body autonomy like we do. It's like Warren Jeff's cult. They would justify whatever to fit their narrative, and they still fight to anyone that says Josh is guilty. Do Jim Bob and Michelle? Hi, Will. Will says she thinks too hard on this nonsense. She does, doesn't she? Do Jim Bob and Michelle even have any ideas of the damage they've caused? Jim Bob is a malignant narcissist, so that would be a no. Michelle is pretty narcissistic as well, but she and Jim Bob do fight a lot. Their marriage is a mess. Right, their marriage is a mess. Okay. Nice. Did TLC know the truth about this Colton family? Of course they knew. They don't care. It's all about money. I don't think she thinks hard enough while she's not under the influence, in my opinion, says sarcasm for fun. Is the IBLP in Arkansas or is it spread throughout the country? Jim Bob is the hub of the Arkansas IBLP, but the IBLP is located in Texas. They're selling off all their real estate in other states, but they do hold a lot of property in Arkansas. They have affiliated churches all over the world. Will says someone should send her the article about the journalist who is being fined per day for not revealing a source in a defamation suit. Wow. Yeah, journalists can be asked to reveal sources, particularly if it's damaging. We're seeing that more and more. The freedom of the press is not happening. Wow, that's an interesting one. Being fined per day. Well, we know that as soon as there's a little bit of a threat, she hands them over. because that's what we saw with Tardy. She could not wait to throw what's his face under the bus. So do you think that more of the younger people in the IBLP are wanting to leave the cult? I think in most families, only a few siblings ever leave. Those that remain the IBLP are the true believers, and nothing will make them leave. Is there an indication that JB is going down for any crimes? We can only hope. Right now his victims are all his captives on his compound. Oh, she makes it sound like it's a gated that they can't leave at all. Right now, they are all captives on his compound. So it sounds like David Koresh, doesn't it? Has JB faced the fall from grace within his own circle since the conviction? The Duggan name is the area. The Duggan name is the area is in the toilet. That makes no sense. And the boys want to change their last name, but no, in JB's inner circle, he's still basically a prophet and a god. He also lies to them about Josh. The Duggan name is the area is in the toilet. Right. It's a prison with a gun tower at the entrance. Well, that's right. Well, that's what she's making it sound like. Compound. I thought they had a property. And some land. And there was the big house, and there was the she shed. It's not exactly a compound. Facts. Many in the IBLP do not have respect. Men in the IBLP do not have to respect women or value their opinions. Women are nothing more than a vehicle for sex and babies. Jim Bob brainwashed his daughters that the police releasing the investigation report was more traumatizing than Josh's abuse. They were never allowed to process their abuse and were forced to forgive Josh. Yeah, but you keep bringing it up, Katie Joy. You keep bringing it up. You don't let them process it or move on. Every time you bring it up, you mention it. It's not yours to talk about. Boy, heaven forbid someone talks about your issue. What do-gooder son or sons are going to be exposed next? Who knows? I've heard stories about Joseph, Jeremiah, Josiah, and Justin. Well, she has. Do you think John and Abby are part of the cult? All of them are in the cult, other than Jill and Ginger. But she said before that Ginger was part of the cult. That Ginger said she wasn't part of the cult, but she is really part of the cult. So how does this work? She's contradicted herself in her own stories. She said a few slides ago, Ginger says she's out of the cult, but she's not really. She's really still in it. This is making my brain hurt. Reality TV is fake. Chad Gallagher still controls the Duggars' social media, and the kids post what Jim Bob wants them to post. He owns the rights to their names and likeness for the rest of their life, so everything you see by them is fake. Does that include the kids that have left? I think, in my opinion, she's going to come out with a new story Saturday, March. Possibly, yeah. Some of the Duggar friends and associates stopped beating their kids on the butts because they left bruising. So many now beat their kids on the bottom of their feet to hide their bruises. Every single Duggar child still in the cult spanks, hits, and beats their children because they are told they don't love their kids if they don't beat them. Again, I need to see proof. She says every single Duggar child. So there you go. Just another manic posting. Oh. So on that note, I'm going to leave you all with that. That's a bit crazy in my opinion. So we've gone from obsessive sister wife posting now to obsessive Duggar. We're going to pull up the Duggar stuff again. So sad. Makes me feel it. Hello, Dabbit down the rabbit hole. It does make me. Well, look, I'm not saying he's not. He's probably not the nicest man, but I haven't seen. I mean, Saturday's March 6, 2023 or 2024. Because I'm not saying that they haven't done stuff, but I haven't seen proof. I'm a proof person. I have to see it. To say that every Duggar child still in the cult beats their child, well, how do you know, where's that proof? And why doesn't she say it is alleged? She's stating it. This is where she gets herself into trouble. She's stating everything as fact. And the only way she knows it's fact is she's actually a Duggar in disguise. And she's really a Duggar. Or she's been told, and if she's been told it, then she needs to say that that a source revealed the following, XYZ. But just to state everything is as fact is where she's got in trouble with 7M. Because she stated lots of stuff with. Also, at some point, it's beating a dead horse true. These are KJ dates, in your opinion. Okay. So she's, I mean, again, she's called JB a malignant narcissist. She's called, so she said Michelle had a high sex drive, but then said that she can't say no, so therefore she's hard. Those two statements, because if she's got a high sex drive, there's less likely of the other happening. Does that make sense? And either Ginger has left the cult or she's in the cult. She says on one of her stories that they'd all left the cult, except they were still in the cult except for Jill. Ginger said she was in the cult, and then a few slides later, she says Jill and Ginger have left the cult. Which it's hard to believe she gets away with everything, and I'm really disappointed that Amy Duggar continues on with her relationship with. Well, you know, the only way I can see that happening, I mean, we did have a discussion about this earlier on, but maybe it's a mutually beneficial relationship. Amy can get all the dirt on Jim Bob, and Katie can get all the dirt on the family. It's a mutually beneficial relationship. Because Amy doesn't have lots to do with Jim Bob or the family, and she doesn't see a lot of them. And that, I mean, and then those that she does speak to would tell her. But I think there has to be a mutually, but there has to be something that Amy's getting out of it as well. I can't. She would have to be getting something out of it. That's the like it is the only logical. It's the only logical reason, because if Amy, like, it's been stated that Jim Bob won't have anything to do with Amy. Well, that makes sense. But some of the kids have something to do with Amy. So if the kids are having something to do with Amy, Amy's getting information from the kids. But then Katie's giving information about what she knows about Jim Bob. You see what I mean? So it becomes, and then that gives Amy the opportunity to use that information to get whatever she needs to get out of the kids. Yeah, so it has to be mutually beneficial. I can't think of it as any other way. But what would she trust them? Well, she has no choice. Sarcasm for fun. She has no choice but to trust her, because that's the only way that she's going to find out what Jim Bob's up to, isn't it? You have to just hope for the best, really. That's all I can. That's the only reason. That's all I can get at. That's the only reason I can come up with for this. To be honest with you, I can't see anything else logically about it. No, a lot of people are saying that those screenshots of the messages would have to be fake, because there's no way Jim Holt would use the initials SMH and BTW, being an older person, and I would sort of agree with that. And that's all right. Not, I'm happy to oblige down the rabbit hole. I started with some other. You would know. You'll see. I started with some other stuff because I don't want to talk about Katie all the time, but we had to go there, so we needed to go there. So I just wanted to see, but I didn't realise that there was so much manic posting. I'd seen a couple of things, but I hadn't seen how manic it was. And I still think it's going to get worse before we get to a court date. So, however, all I can tell you is that, yes, I saw, but I didn't understand. So I live in Australia, and that the security rugby, yeah, well, that's all right. I don't understand it either, so don't worry down the rabbit hole. I don't understand it either. And I'm Australian. I've had somebody try to explain it to me, and I'm an Aussie rules girl myself. But yeah, I don't understand why they're in Vegas. But anyway. So your sporting code really depends on where you're from. So I'm from the southern part of the southern part of the country, and we play Aussie rules, and the northern and eastern parts play rugby, and yeah. So we play Aussie rules. So anyway, I'm going to head off because it's 3:00 in the afternoon. I've got to get some prep done. I've got to do some other videos. I need to film a couple of other things that I want to film today. So yeah, so she's not going live because apparently she's got a cold. Someone who doesn't leave the house very often, she's sick. Thank you, Sarcasm for Fun. Thank you very much for your super sticker. Thanks for keeping the updates coming. Oh, that's all right. I'm just ashamed I just can't do them as often as I'd like to because of that thing that we have called work and a life and a real life and a real job. But as I said, I checked out coffee. Was it Colts and Coffee or Coffee and Colts, which I found to be very interesting, about the twin flame cult university. It's pretty freaky out there. So you don't have to be stuck on one cult. Actually, according to the person, they've actually started a church purely for tax deduction purposes. So, which I find to be very interesting. Yeah, so I'll try and keep updated. Yeah, so look, I'll probably I've got 12 students tomorrow. I start at 8 and I finish about 3:30. So depending on how I feel, I might get on tomorrow night, Monday night, but we'll see how I go. Otherwise, it might be Thursday. Usually, if I get on, it's Thursdays during the day because I have Thursdays off, and then the weekend, and it's like Sunday afternoon. It's 3:00 Sunday afternoon. So hopefully it won't be so long. But anyway, I want to thank you all for watching. If you hit like and subscribe for me, that would be really appreciative. Thank you for the super stickers. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for those who become members. Just thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. And I will see you again